Been seeing a lot of young men and women stand up gives me a lot of hope, and makes me very proud of them for standing up with what they believe in. I mean, it's very clear and plain to see that we ain't in a pandemic, all right? I'm just going to point out some obvious things real quick. Men and women in the medical field ain't twerking, doing booty dances in the hallways, and things of that nature during pandemics. I promise you, you didn't see any of that during the Spanish flu. You didn't see any of that in 1666. There wasn't nobody out there booty twerking and dancing in their scrubs and happy as hell during a pandemic, all right? So anybody with rational and logical thought process at this point clearly knows that this is a psyop to gain an immense amount of control. And I mean, I'm talking control on a level that Hitler wished to manifest, without question, all right? And these people are doing it without a single bullet being fired. You got Australia on lockdown. You got people in FEMA camps. Now look, throughout history, the United States has gotten involved with certain countries when the people are oppressed, right? We're supposed to be their saving grace. It's in our best interest to press on with the illusion of democracy and force other people into our way of thinking. It's not really our way of thinking, because obviously most of the people who follow me don't have that way of thinking at all. Most of the people that are awake realize that there's a clear difference between a democracy and a republic. This is an egregious overreach by every government throughout the world. They are in collusion. They are conspiring against the people of the world, ladies and gentlemen. This is a small group of people. We're talking maybe a few thousand, maybe 10,000, 20,000 of the elitist puppets going along with this narrative that there's some spooky boogeyman out there that's going to kill you. It's going to get you. The other day, I explained to you what a mandate is. You can go ask any attorney. And if they're worth their weight in gold, which very few of them ever are, but if they really know the law, and you tell them, is it true that a mandate is an offer to contract? Is it true? Is a mandate law, yes or no? If the answer is no, then ask him, well then, is a mandate an offer to contract? Yes or no? Is it true in this nation that involuntary servitude shall not be had? Yes or no? Simple questions. Yes or no? Yes, it's true. Involuntary servitude shall not be had. If you're not consenting and willing to consent to something being asked of you, you don't have to do so. And if you're forced to comply, that would be considered an occupation and you would be due an owing compensation. Right? A mandate, for all you people out there, you youngsters standing up, is an offer to contract. Let's talk about commercial law a little bit here. There are only a couple ways to remain in honor, all right? You can accept the contract and go about your way and stipulate no terms and conditions to the contract and just go along to get along. You can do that, and that's remaining in honor. You can conditionally accept that offer upon proof of claim that it's not going to cause any psychological harm or physical harm to you. Your lungs, your immune system, your body, right? And you can also stipulate to the fact that what it's going to cost you to be an employee, because mandates and policies only apply to the people who are hired on. Let me help you youngsters see the truth here. I walk into Dairy Queen, right? Do I have to wear a Dairy Queen uniform? I mean, it is Dairy Queen's policy that if I work there, I have to wear their uniform. But when I walk in there, I'm not an employee. So that policy doesn't apply to me, right? So one of the other policies at Dairy Queen is that, and I'm just using this as an example, I don't know that Dairy Queen is doing this or isn't doing this. So just a little disclaimer there. But let's just say that one of Dairy Queen's other policies is that every employee must wear a mask. Now, these people are contracted and they must abide by the policy, or there are consequences for breach of the policy. You have entered into a commercial agreement, a commercial charter for an even exchange of your sweat equity and labor, okay? Which is not an income. That's a completely different subject matter. We're not going to get into that today, but I want to help you youngsters to the best of my ability, because I commend you. I am so proud of you for standing up and challenging the narrative. Now I'm going to give you the ammunition to build these people, because it's the only damn thing they care about is their pocketbooks. That's it. That's what this whole thing is about. The economic system has collapsed. They're hiding it under COVID. They're issuing all kinds of bonds, pandemic bonds, and all this other kind of horsepucky to float the economy. It's an insurance scheme. And they're pledging our future offspring to balance the books. It appears that they're going to engage in mass genocide, which would also have a way of balancing the books, because each one of you has a life insurance policy out on you. From the day you were born, there's a life insurance policy on you. You are worth more dead than you are alive. That'd be a fact. So, back to what I'm trying to articulate to you young people. Your principal's standing there with a bunch of gun-toting morons trying to tell you that if you don't wear a mask, that you will be expelled and you will be removed from the premises. Important thing to know. One, in order to be removed from a public building, you got to find the owner first. The owner has to trespass your ass. And the principal, nor the superintendent, is the owner of that building. We, the people, own that building. That's number one. Number two, accept his offer to contract on the grounds that he can prove that it doesn't lead to psychological effects or physical harm and long-term effects to your immune system, your body, so on and so forth. And that he's going to pay you $5,000 a day, $10,000 a day, $20,000 a day. We don't care how much it is. It really doesn't matter. What's your time worth? You know, I know what my time's worth. I undervalue my time because I want to help a lot of people. So naturally, I put it way low, considering what I could do in other forms of occupation. All right, because my true goal is to help you guys. You can't help people by taxing them to death for your services rendered, right? Like Jim Rohn says, it's a game of numbers, ladies and gentlemen. I can sell 5 cars all week long by just waiting and talking to 10 or 15 people that come on the car lot, or I can sit there and hammer the phone all day, every day, and call people and say, hey, how's your rig running? Yeah, well, we've got some smoking deals down here. When you're ready, don't forget my name and come down and see me. You see, by the end of the day, I will have talked to 80, 90, maybe even 100 people, short 5-minute conversations about their current automobile situation, right? And I increase my odds of making a sale, okay? The mandate, again, is an offer to contract. Get together with your friends, constituents, your pupils, your community and your high school, and sit down and start writing up a bill. I accept your offer to contract. I need the school's W-9. You are a trustee operating on behalf of a principal for which I fund. I fund this corporation called the Public Fool System. I fund it through a social security number as well as a birth certificate. And because of that fact, I accept your offer to contract. And I want to get paid. I'm going to fulfill your order. They've got, in commercial law, 72 hours, ladies and gentlemen, 72 hours to deny the contract. If they don't, they're bound by it. Okay? So when you put your dollar figure per day on their mandate, go print out their mandate. Every school has got, some of these schools aren't even doing this. This is how you know this is all a bunch of cockamamie bullshit. These are a bunch of litmus tests to see how stupid the public is. How far they can push people in certain regions before they'll stand up. But it doesn't have to come to violence. You can simply bill them. And people go, well, Derek, you mean I'm going to have to wear the mask? No. No, you don't. You want to know why? Because the caveat states that they have to prove that this won't have psychological harm on you or physically harm you in any way, shape, or form, and that it will not have any long-lasting effects on your life. You see, we've put them in a corner. We've created an impossibility, but because they made the offer, we're more than willing to accept your contract. And because we accepted your contract, we get to stipulate the terms and conditions to the contract. All right? It's like this. Kid comes over to mow your yard. He says, I'll mow your yard for $60. You say, hey, whoa there, little whippersnapper. I'll agree, you can mow my yard for $60. But you're also going to trim the hedges, and you're also going to edge the sidewalks and the driveway, and then you're going to scoop all that stuff up, and you're going to power wash and blow it all off when you're done. $60, we got a deal or not? You see, the kid made the offer to mow the yard for $60. I am accepting his offer, but on my conditions and terms, because he made the offer. I get to set the conditions and terms, and now he gets an opportunity to say yes or no. That's it. There is no more deliberating. There is no more negotiation. You made the offer. Accept your offer on these terms and conditions. Do you want the job, yes or no? Now, 72 hours goes by. I don't get a response from him. And I'm using this as a generic excuse. Or, not excuse, a generic example. Excuse me. Just to get it seated in your mind how this works. All right? This is young entrepreneurship 101, if you will, for you youngsters out there. After 3 days, in commercial law, if he doesn't respond to it, he agreed to it by tacit agreement and acquiescence. So part of the contract is you'll come over here on Tuesday and you'll get all this done on Tuesday. Now, he doesn't say anything. He leaves. Tuesday comes and rolls around. He never comes and mows the yard. The city is deciding to send me a bill for not having my grass cut. Who's liable for that? We had an agreement. This young whippersnapper came over, wanted to do this yard work, all this other stuff. He agreed to it by silent agreement and tacit acquiescence, right? He's the one liable for the $60 bill that I'm getting from the city at that point, right? This is just contract law. You made a contract. Okay? The issue with the city is still separate from the issue with the guy that you contracted with. Now, let's take it back to the school setting, because I want you guys to understand this. I would love to see a few thousand kids do this to their school system. I would freaking love it. I would relish in it. It would just be so badass to watch a bunch of kids say, hey, we agree. We agree. We have a meeting of the minds. We agree with you. And we like them fat daddy paychecks every Friday on the hour of 3:30. For all you teachers walk out. As we walking out, we want you to get your checkbook out. Get your secretary out there and start issuing them checks, because you're going to treat us like an employee. We're going to get paid like an employee. Because as I articulated to you earlier, those policies only apply to employees. So when Dairy Queen says, hey, you got to put a mask on. Okay. That's an order, right? Well, it's part of our policy. Oh, fantastic. I don't mind following orders. I don't mind following your policy. If you're going to treat me like an employee, though, and we didn't discuss wages yet, just let me know where your legal department is. Who's in control of your legal department, or who's in control of your finances, accounts receivable and accounts payable? That's all I need to know. I'm going to go ahead and put this mask on for you. I'm going to go ahead and make some orders and even give you some exchange in value for the things that I'm trying to receive here today. And because we didn't establish how much I'm going to be paid for putting on this goofy ass thing on my freaking face, this burqa, whatever the hell you want to identify it as, guess what? I'm going to bill you. Now, when the legal department goes, oh, wait a minute, we don't owe you anything. Oh, no. You see, I got the name of the man who told me that I had to wear this because it was part of Dairy Queen's policy. And if you're going to act like I'm an employee, you're going to treat me like an employee, you're going to pay me like an employee. But unfortunately for you, you didn't ask me how expensive I am. And I am worth a mint. I am worth a mint. I promise your one order is going to cost you more in 5 fucking minutes than most of your employees make in an entire year. But that's the price you pay for not negotiating with me in the first instance and finding out how expensive I am. People go, will this work? Yes, it will. How do we enforce it? That's always a key question. How do we enforce it? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you how you enforce it. A W-4 form, line 6. What is it that you want withheld? We want the full amount of what we're billing withheld. Now, what does that do? That creates a tax liability. And it's also somewhat of a negative claim. Instead of making a positive claim for which you would have to prove, now you're making a negative claim. And you're saying, I don't want paid the $5,000 per order. Hold that. Withhold that. All right, you're just going to go ahead and hold that. So on the W-4, your name goes to the top left-hand corner. There's a social security number that goes on the right-hand corner. Then in line 6 is the withholding, what you don't want paid. People go, now, Derek, why are you telling us that we can bill and get a paycheck and then turn around and tell us to issue a withholding? Because these clowns ain't going to pay you, you see. They ain't going to pay you. They're going to think this is a joke. But it ain't a joke, because when the IRS come knocking on their door, they will realize this ain't no joke. This is real. Some bank account's going to get liquidated. And the IRS, guess what they do? Their job is to make sure the source of the credits on account return to the creditor. Oh yeah, that's their job. See, we've always been told the IRS bad people. Oh, if the IRS come knocking, you just want to avoid them and take all your money out of bank accounts, close them down, and hide to the best of your ability. No. They are your friends. It's hard to believe that after all these years of being indoctrinated about the IRS and the Internal Revenue Service, to have somebody openly preaching to you saying they are your friends. Make no mistake about it, they're your friends. I promise you that. You just read publication 95, I think it's 959 or 545. There's a number of them. But publication 1212, another brilliant publication. The IRS is your friend. So, on the W-4 form, and the fact that the high school is trying to force you to wear a burqa, all right? When you get the mandate, you're going to accept it under the conditions that they agree to the caveat, which means they're going to prove that it doesn't have any lifelong psychological effects, and 2, any adverse health effects, long-term, short-term, any of that, which we've created an impossibility, but it still doesn't negate the contract. Contract's still there. They accepted it, right? You put your terms and conditions on the back of the mandate. Sign it, date it, autograph it. If you want to get fancy, you put a stamp on it, sign through the stamp, right? Because this is a negotiation here. This instrument is valuable. When you do your W-4, you're going to allonge the mandate to the W-4 when you mail it into the IRS. All right? The W-4 form tells you where to send it. You're going to ask the school, the trustees, for the W-9. They may refuse. Just put refused on there. No big deal. Just write refused. Down at the bottom right-hand corner, you write refused. Then the date that you became employed is the date that the mandate was issued, the date that you accepted the mandate, which is an order. And orders come at a price. So you're going to put that date in there. And then the name of the company is either going to be the School of Stupidity or whatever school it is. And you'll mail that puppy off. Now you can preload this, right? Because we were on this, we're going to quarantine for 2 weeks to flatten the curve, right? But here we are 500 and some days into this, and there ain't no sign of it stopping. So it's perpetual insanity at this point. So we're just going to go ahead and preload that W-4 for the full extent of the school year. All right? And you can add in the days or the hours that you've got extracurricular games and all this other stuff. You know, preload it. Now, if you do $5,000 a day for the school year in one particular school that we were dealing with, it totaled up to about $120,000. So on the W-4 in line 6, we are refusing to be paid $120,000. We are asking our employer, you know what, just go ahead and hold that for us. Why? Because when the IRS comes to audit their books, and they're going to see that they have contracted with you, and that you are refusing the $120,000. You're not refusing it per se. You're asking them to hold it. Now, if they're in receipt because of your services provided, remember, you're providing them goods and services by wearing a mask and following their policy. This is just basic, very basic contract law. Right? It's so simple, it's stupid. But nobody's being taught this stuff. So because we render goods and services, and we're telling them to do the withholding of the amounts due and owing to us, the IRS will come back to them because of the contract, because we're being treated like employees. Remember, involuntary servitude shall not be had in this nation. All right? Slavery, allegedly, purportedly, was ended a long time ago. We all know it's bullshit. But, nevertheless, if you conditionally accept these things, you can get paid. So get paid. And watch how quickly they change their tune about trying to force their edicts and bullshit onto you. Because the only reason they're doing it, ladies and gentlemen, is to unjustly enrich themselves. Well, when you take the profit out of the game and they bear full commercial liability for holding your value, your services and goods that you provided to them at their behest by conditionally accepting their offer, okay? The IRS will come and tax them an extra 13% on everything they withheld from you. You're wanting them to withhold the full amount. You're going to go ahead and preload that W-4. You're going to preload it up, and you're going to ship it off. If you could get 200 to 300 kids in your school to do that, I am telling you right now, that malarkey of forcing your offspring to wear masks is done. It's over. Done data. Nobody in the professional world enjoys a letter from the IRS. Nobody enjoys being audited by the IRS, especially your school systems, which are for-profit organizations, all right? Through a great amount of due diligence that I have done, I have not found one credible, non-profit, tax-exempt government organization yet. Not a police department, not a sheriff's department, not a school, not a courthouse. I haven't found anything that is actually registered the way it's supposed to be in order to be government, quote unquote, and tax exempt. I've filled out a lot of 13909s, 4506As, all kinds of good stuff. Whistleblower 211 forms, and they always come back the same. It's not a government agent. We don't know who they are. What do you mean? It's the Court of Custer County. You don't know who the hell these people are? Are you kidding me? You're the IRS, and nobody has communicated with you what they're doing here on our soil and what business they're engaged in. Yet they purport to be government. I mean, this is from the clerk of the court's mouth, the judge's mouth, prosecuting attorney's mouth. They all purport to be government, but yet when we get a hold of the IRS, they go, nope. Not on our books, they're not. They're not tax exempt. In fact, they don't even exist. You sure you're not Under the influence of some substance, Derek? No, I'm certain. I went in the building. I pissed all over their desk. I wiped my muddy feet off on their throw rug that said welcome. The building exists. The people are there. Whether or not they're doing what they say they're doing is a little unnerving when you don't have the actual information that proves that they're government. And I'm writing you guys just wanting to know how much interest you have in all these securities they're generating. How much income are they making? So back to the school thing. You fill out the W-4. You grab the mandate. You accept the mandate. Make copies of all this stuff. Go ahead and send it to the superintendent. You don't have to give him the W-4. You don't even have to show him the W-4. But, it's just a nice little polite reminder. This is what's coming down the pike. Hope you guys enjoy tax season. It's going to be a riot. The other thing is that I'm seeing is they're threatening offspring with expulsion, kicking them out. Now, look, I get kicked out of class all the time. I was the king of the in-school suspension room, and I had the most Saturday schools out of any kid that ever attained that school. I promise you. I had something like 56 Saturday schools. So it's like, you think I'm even going to show up to one? Good luck. Good luck. I got better shit to do with my time. And it was just incredible. These people try and force their will on you, thinking they have authority. They don't. They only have authority if you've got a weak mind and you allow them to control your mind. That's what they're after. So, we got there. 5,000 times 180, 900,000 in New York. There you go. Put it down on W-4. Line 6 is where you want to put it. Line 7, what are we going to put at line 7? Line 7 is exempt. Now, keep in mind, I am referencing from a 2019 W-4, all right? Because they changed the form a little bit. But the 2019 form is identical to a bank check, okay? So you're saying, I don't want paid this. They're withholding this. I don't want a check from them. And when they're telling you they're going to kick you out of school, I want you to understand this. They get paid on attendance. That's why every morning they take an attendance, because they send up that attendance up the chain of command, and it gets converted into credits on account because asses are in seats. That's how they get paid. Don't let these people fool you or trick you or cause you some type of mental anguish, leading you to believe that they don't need you and they can just get rid of you and not teach you. Because they need you, you really don't need them. See, government has always put this in the people's head that, oh, you guys need us. You'll see, you need us. And then all of a sudden when people start to turn their backs on them, they go, wait. We may have made a mistake. We may have overreached. We'll fix what we did, and if you guys would just come back. We come back, and then people start slowly trickling back. Okay, we forgive you. It's time to stop forgiving these assholes. We're done playing games with narcissists. They're narcissistic assholes. That's what they are. None of these people that are telling you to wear a mask, ladies and gentlemen, none of them have any credible science behind what they're saying. Not one of them. I don't know. Pick and choose your battles. But I came on here because I'm so proud of these youngsters I see standing up, and I want to give you a little more edge than what you already got, because you're asking sharp questions. Loving it. I'm seeing it all over YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Jerry Springer show, you name it. And it's not even funny. All this shit belongs on a Jerry Springer show. That's how goofy this shit is. All right? So, you fill out the W-4. You accept their mandate, you put the terms and conditions on the back, you give them a date and a time for payment. They're not going to pay you anyway. You fill out your W-4 as a withholding. And you mail it off to the IRS. Bingo. I just sit back and watch the shit fly. You watch the lawyers run around pulling their hair out trying to figure out how they're going to balance their budgets. Ho, 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 ho. When the IRS is beating on their door going, you know what? You don't get any federal funding next year. You want to know why? You asshats owe us big. You owe us really big. And because you're in a precarious position where you can't pay us, guess what? You don't get no federal funding until you make right with us. We're going to freeze your accounts. Now, I know a man who has done this to a judge. Funnier than shit. They called him up. Excuse me. We'd really like you to come on down here and talk to us. He goes, yeah, that's cool. What about? Well, the IRS froze the judge's account, froze the clerk of the court's account, and also froze the prosecuting attorney's bank account. And they would really like to come to a resolution with you. I bet they would. I bet they would. Because they're scared shitless of the IRS. Nobody in the professional world, in the commercial world, is exempt. Nobody has qualified immunity from the IRS. Nobody. So, you take it for what it's worth. I'm just telling you how shit rolls downhill or uphill when you playing with the IRS. They are your friends. Bill these people up. Do a W-4 saying, I don't want paid. You just go ahead and hold that for me. You know where you're going to get your check from? Your check is actually going to come from the IRS because you rendered goods and services and were not paid, and their job is to make sure that source of credit gets returned back to you. So, thanks for joining me. I hope this helps you young pups out. I'm very, very proud of you guys. I think it's kick-ass that you're standing up for what you believe in. There's hope that the next generation isn't completely screwed, and I'm very happy to see that. So, with that said, love you guys. Have a good evening. On probation for DWI, they think I'm going to wear a mask. I'll bill them up. And you know what? Turn around and deny the beneficial interest of being on probation and assign it back to the probation officer. Give it back to him. You know what? The contract isn't mutually beneficial for all parties involved, and because of that, I'm opting out. In fact, I'm going to assign the beneficial interest of being on probation to the probation officer. He's got to be there anyway. Let him piss in a cup. I just don't see any benefit there. You know, a contract is to be mutually beneficial for all parties involved. So like these mandates are an offer to contract, ladies and gentlemen. Is it mutually beneficial for you? You got to go out of your own pocket and go get your own damn mask, right? They're not providing the mask. He who provides the ends provides the means. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't ask you to build me a house and not provide you any lumber. How asinine would that be? How many people are going to build a house for you and you not produce any materials or any compensation in any way, shape, or form? Have I created an impossibility? The whole crew showed up to build a house today and, oh, well, there's no materials here. What's the whole crew going to do? They're going to turn around, get in their trucks and go home. That's what they're going to do. You're probably going to get a bill for wasting their time. All right? That's how it works. So, love you guys. Have a good day. Talk to you soon. Class, September 18th, 2021. You'll probably learn more in the land patent class about freedom, your rights, liberty, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence than you ever learned in school. Almost a guarantee. Because you've got to enforce the land patent through the treaties. You're going to learn more about treaties in the land patent class on the 18th than you ever learned in school. Isn't that something? One man who's dedicated his life to gaining and acquiring knowledge, credible information from them as a source of information. This isn't just stuff I made up in my head. It's actually warehoused at the Library of Congress. It's from their literature. It's what the system agreed to. It's what they're bound by. If you know it, and if you know how to enforce it. You're going to learn more in that one Saturday class than you learned through your entire education in high school and more than likely college. It's amazing. It's amazing. And there's more people out there than just me. I just have a unique group of friends who are very articulate and read a lot. Keith Little, you've got Malika, you got Justin Nolan, you got Mr. Anonymous. I mean, I could go on for weeks and weeks and weeks about the people who have helped me along this journey. You got John Faraday, you got, who else you got out there? You got just John Little, you got Robert Fox. Most people don't even know who Robert Fox is. Go type in Robert Fox on YouTube. That man he did some amazing stuff. And that was back in the day where he had to go into the law library and flip pages. Nowadays, we got the luxury of just sitting at our home and typing it into the computer. So remember, the mandate is an offer to contract. Get a copy of the mandate, accept that mandate, put your caveat and the conditions of the contract, the terms and conditions of the contract. Let them know that you're preloading a W-4 on line 6, that you're asking them to withhold all the payments And they're going to get caught at the end of the day holding the bag of tricks. And just sit back and smile. Give them one of these. Hi. Derek says hi. All right, love you. Out.